Hello everyone, Brent Stutzman here with TheraSaaS, and in this video, I'm going to be going over some of my favorite automations as it relates to productivity and maybe some marketing things as well. So you're going to want to be able to look at the description below and click to the ones that interest you. We're going to have timestamps there. All right, let's jump in. So my first automation I want to show you is sort of like best practices as it relates to removing contacts from workflows. So there's a setting in here I want to show you. So I'm inside a workflow here, an automation, and I want to bring your attention to remove from workflow. I'm just trying to scroll down here. So this little action here is going to make sure that the contact is fully removed from the workflow once it hits this stage. So I'm going to scroll down here because we have all these if-then conditions, and you're going to see this remove from workflow. Now there's a couple different things you can do here. You can remove from another workflow, remove that contact from all the workflows except the current workflow, or remove them from all workflows altogether. So what makes sense here is, let's say you're doing a nurture campaign. Let's say you're going to be sending out an email once a week, and it's kind of more salesy in that, right? You're encouraging people to book appointments. Well, what you can do is you could create a workflow that basically it says, you could have a dedicated workflow that just says remove the contact from another workflow, and you can pick out those workflows there. All workflows except the current workflow, right? So let's say you're in the midst of a kind of a salesy campaign outreach. You want to pause any other workflows that they have going on. So you would remove them from those other workflows they might be in. Maybe it's another nurture campaign so that they're focused only on this one. Or you can just remove them from the current workflow. And then the other thing I think is important is one more here is you could say, I'm just going to type in workflow here, and you could say add to another workflow. You can drag and drop this over here. So maybe they end this current workflow, and don't do that. We're going to move that like up here. So we're going to add to another workflow. So let's click on this here. And let's say there's another automation you want to add them to. I'm going to hit save. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up because you don't want to remove them from the workflow because then they'll never hit this. So we're going to add them to this workflow, tasks, and then remove them from that current workflow. Okay. So I think this is just best practice. Try to have this in your automations at the end, or if you want to be more strategic and remove them from a current workflow and just have them solely focused on this one. So you have your options that are right here. All right, let's jump on to the next automation. All right, the next automation I want to show you is a follow-up email or text message workflow that when someone is on a wait list. Okay, so let's jump over here and I'll show you. So you'll see here on the pipeline stage, you're going to want to choose on your automation where they're at in that pipeline stage. So let's just say they're on the waitlist stage. Okay. So anyone on the waitlist stage, and let's also make this other status. You want to make sure it is open, because otherwise everyone who was on that stage, either they're lost or won, will also get this. So we're going to say save trigger. So new client appointment, pipeline status is open. That is the trigger. So we're going to say wait. We're going to create a wait step here. So you'll see this information. Let me just show you what that looks like. Just create a wait, not time delay. It's going to be event appointment time here. Oops, apologize. Don't do that. Go to just your time delay. And then there's going to be an advanced window right here. So you're going to click on this and you're going to say what day during the week that you want. So we're going to look at Monday here, and we're going to say from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. run this automation when someone's in this trigger or in this pipeline. And what we'll do is we're going to send a text message to this lead. Okay, it says you're currently on the wait list at name of your location. If you'd like to stay on this wait list, please reply yes. If you'd be removed from the wait list, please reply no. All right, so there's a quick little message there. And then what we're going to do is this, so that you can repeat. There's this cool little step called a go to. I'm going to scroll down here. It's purple. We're going to say go to. All right, we have our go to step, and we're going to call it go to wait step. Let's hit the save button, and this is going to light up a little bit, and you're just going to click on the step you want it to go to, and now you'll see this little line being drawn right here. Okay, So you'll see that being drawn. Don't disconnect to go to. Now what will happen is once they go through this, it'll go right back up to here. And anyone who's in that pipeline stage, wait till Monday, and they will then get the SMS. Now, you could also send an email as well for this. But this is a waitlist auto reminder. Let's go to the next automation. All right, my next automation is what I'm calling the holiday greeting reminder. So this is if you want to set up an automation for the entire year to send out emails to your email list on different holidays. So here's what I'm going to show you. Okay, so we are in the holiday greeting, and we need to add a trigger for this. So the trigger really is just, we're going to say contact created. I'm going to save that trigger. So really any contact that gets created inside that has an email, this is going to go out to. All right. So what's going to happen is contact created, and now we're going to do a wait step, and we're just say, hey, wait 1 minute. And then we're going to go to New Year's Day. So the way this is going to go is you need to create an event start date. So just type in event start date, and you're going to do specific day and time. And then, you're just going to give it the date and time there. And of course, you're going to want to call this, let's just call it New Year's, right? Although it's not New Year's, we'll call it New Year's 1. So you can see that here. All right. So it should look like New Year's Day, let's say 9 a.m. on the new day of the year. And then let's go ahead and I'm going to delete this other one here. Now, what you need to do is, at the beginning of your year, you can reset these dates, but you could send a templated email. So you could do a text-based email right here, or you could select an existing template. All right. So I would suggest a template, something really nice. You can just update the templates every year and then go through all the different holidays. If you have a Martin Luther King Day, let's just do a wait step for 1 minute. And then I like wait steps because it just gives it a little bit of pause in between each one of these. President's Day, if you want Washington's birthday, whatever you want it to have, you can have as many as you want inside of this. And then I would just put a reminder. Let's do this. Let's put a reminder here at the end. Let's just add a task at that Christmas Day. Let's select an action here. Let's add a task for your team. And then you can just say, update holiday greeting emails, and give it the title here, and then assign it to someone on your team. And it's going to be due, 1 day. And then what you would do is you could just go back and then update when you want the Christmas Day to be sent out, right? So we want to make sure this is at the following year each time. All right. So that is a simple holiday greeting. If you just want to set it and forget it, that will go out to all your contacts. All right. Let's jump to the next automation. All right. My next automation I want to show you is an out of office reminder or out of office automation. So if you go on vacation or something like that, or if your offices are closed for certain days, you can automatically send out an email if somebody tries to communicate with you through email. All right, so let me jump in and show you. Okay, so we have our action here. Our trigger is going to be customer replied. So let me just set this up, customer replied here. And then you could say which channel you'd like that reply channel. And you can select your different ones. So you can have email, or it could be SMS, okay? So let's confirm this. I want to cancel that. So this is the email. You could also set one up for text messaging as well. We have our condition here. So you're going to add a condition. Pretty easy to do. Condition. It's an if else condition right here. All right. So you're going to select your date and time. So you're going to say day of the month. We're going to say is 2. All right. And then I will show you the rest of that automation right here. What this look like. Condition is this, is on or after 2, or is on or before day 28. Okay, so that is your condition. And let me cancel this. You just have a simple out of office email. You could write whatever you like, and then it ends it. If it doesn't meet those conditions, then it's not gonna run. So this way you can set up an out of office email based on these time conditions right here. All right, let's jump to the next automation. All right, my next favorite automation is an after hours email autoresponder. So before it was like out of office for a specific date. This is sort of out of office hours are closed type of thing. So we're going to do is the same trigger is going to be email. And then we're going to put in another if then condition. with the current hour, right? So before it was current day of the week, now we're doing current hour. And we're just going to say is after 9 p.m. or is before 8 a.m. And if that's the case, we do want you to send an email that says, close, we'll be following up with you ASAP. Then you can have your email message down here. If you want, you can also add a tag that says after hours email. You may want to be able to, well, if you want to tag, go ahead and tag. Now, the next one is going to be removed from workflow. Again, it's a nice little practice that you can do with automations. Okay, so this is the after hours email responder. All right, let's jump to the next workflow. All right, the next workflow I want to show you is sort of like a task automation that, let's say when somebody submits a new client appointment form using the TheraSaaS form, there's a series of automations you want to be able to, or at least a series of tasks you want to be able to assign to your team so they can follow up with. So let me jump in and show you what that looks like. So here we have when an opportunity is created, let's say it's a new, they're in the pipeline stage is a new client lead. All right, so they fill out the form and they are now in here in the pipeline, okay? Once they hit that pipeline, I like to put a little bit of a wait step in here. And then let's send the confirmation email. So log into your email outside of TheraSaaS and use some templates if you want. Wait a second. Billing settings. So this was taken from one of the current TheraSaaS subscribers. I thought this was a good idea. So this is what they have. Admin sticky note, so again, it's just all these different things. Insurance PDF send, scheduled in the EHR, send the good faith documents through the EHR, credit card on file. You're just checking all these things. So what does that look like then inside of TheraSaaS? Well, I'm going to show you. Okay, I'm inside my pipeline here. I'm going to zoom in the Buzz Lightyear and I'm going to click on this and you'll see all those tasks were added right here. They have them numbered. And the reason why I had some of those wait steps in here is to spread it out a little bit. So you'll see, schedule and simple practice, things like that. You can cross those off along the way, but those are all added to the actual contact card. Now let's actually go into contacts and let's see what all those tasks look like. So you can manage all those tasks from kind of a master view, due today. These are the ones that are overdue. Okay. So anyways, this is just a really easy way to manage tasks and automate them as well as you see fit. All right, let's jump to the next automation. All right, my next favorite automation is if you have a fax that comes in. So TheraSaaS numbers cannot receive fax, but if you have another number or an email that can receive fax, I'm going to show you how you can take that information and put it on a form and create a short automation around it. All right, let's jump in. Okay, let's say you have just a regular form that you have just for faxes. Okay, so this would be your fax form, and you would fill it out once you receive that fax. Now, what we're going to do here over to the automation is create an automation that when the fax form is submitted, all right, so this would be like a fax form here. Okay, select the fax form is submitted, and then you can create an opportunity. Let's say it's medication management, or you could say fax received if that's a step in your pipeline. Okay. And then you can add a tag that says Kaiser Fax, or, a lot of California subscribers use Kaiser. So Kaiser Fax. And then you can assign it to a user on your team and let them know or notify the new user that they have a new a fax assigned to them. So you could then say, see notification here, send internal notification. Maybe that's a text or an email, and just say, new fax submitted for med management or whatever. Okay, so now you have your, we got to select the user type. Let's say all the users. And there you go. That could be a simple fax automation that you can create for your team when a fax form is filled out. Let's go to the next workflow. All right, so this next workflow is around surveys. And I think what I'm going to do is show you the surveys first that you could potentially use, and then we'll jump in and do a workflow around them. All right, so let's jump in. So right here, we're going to see a clinician exit interview survey here. So let's say you are terminating a clinician from your team, or they're leaving, and you want to do an exit survey. So you can create a survey inside of TheraSaaS. This is different from a form. So I'm going to go back here. So inside TheraSaaS, you have sites. So you're going to click on sites, and then you're going to go to surveys and then builder. And this is where your surveys are going to be. Okay. different types of surveys, but usually client care experience, which we'll get to in just a second. But here's a survey that you could create with different cards, and you could do your drop downs here. Again, this acts just like a form, but it's in a survey experience. So you have like your submit button, and you can go to the different pages. Okay. Same thing with a client satisfaction. You could send them how is your care going? Or let's just say this is at the end of their time with you as well. What was the most helpful part of your therapy experience with us? This is just a test question. Field description. Do you feel heard, understood, or supported by your therapist? Things like that. Okay. So it's a simple little survey that you can create. Now, what you could do then on the automation side is let's go ahead and see if I have one already created. New survey after first session. Okay, so let's do this here. Now, what's unique about this survey is that this is after somebody submitted it. So you can send a survey. Let's say you create a tag. I'll get to that first, but let's just explore this interesting workflow. So when the survey is submitted, right? So that's the workflow, survey submitted. We're going to email the practice owner. Hey, we got a new survey. And then they can add some of the custom fields here. So you could just see, here's the question: how satisfied with your experience of scheduling your first therapy session? And then it's going to pull the answer from that. And then who's your therapist? Now, what's going to happen in this part of the workflow is another condition, if else condition. And this is sort of, if you have on the survey question, who is your therapist? You could say, therapist A. So on this condition, who is your therapist? And if it's therapist A, it's going to look for these different therapists that you have in here for the condition. And then what's going to happen is it's going to say, all right, then email the clinician, and you'll put your clinician's name here. This will be a custom email. You got your subject, and then you could say, here's the responses. You could add all these questions if you want, or you should be able to email them the submission as well. All right, so that is just one short after the survey has been submitted. Let's find out a way if we could actually send the survey. Okay, so I think this is going to work out quite well. So under here, we're going to have a trigger when in the pipeline, a contact is in this pipeline and they're marked as 1. The status is 1. It can fire off this automation. Or let's just say we want to, let's cancel this. Let's add another trigger. Let's just say a tag here. Okay. And we're going to say the tag, add a tag. When the tag is added, and I'm going to say survey. We don't have that survey. So we're going to call this client satisfaction survey sent. All right. So when you add that tag to somebody, could also fire this automation, showing you have options. So we're going to update the field here. Don't worry about that. I don't think these are relevant. So let's go down to email client. So skip these two here and let's just email the client. Hope you're doing well. I'm going to check in and see how your first appointment was. It's anonymous. Your answers would be completely anonymous if you choose. So feel free to share your thoughts openly. Click here for the survey. All right. So you would then link to the survey. Good. You don't have to have it anonymous if you want. You can have the form where it leaves their name. That's totally fine. Then we're going to have a wait step. And the wait step is going to be when the contact is replied. So wait for the contact to reply. Okay. And then it's going to time out after 7 days. So after it times out, it will end. But if the contact does the reply, it's going to send out a notification. And then here's the message in that. So this is using custom fields, the message body. It's like, oh, wait, well, how do we get to that? So if you go to maybe under here, sorry, right there. I was looking for that. Just type in message and you'll see the message body right there. And that's how you can get that custom field. All right. Okay. So it's going to send an email. Sorry, this one is going to be an internal email notification. And similar to the last automation I showed you, it's going to do the condition based on who they selected with that particular therapist on the survey. Okay. So it could be a little overkill for this, but I think at the end of the day, you can just use the tag and send the survey to the contact. Send the survey to the contact, and you could do a wait response and wait for the reply if you want, and you can end it right there. Or you could, take it somewhere else. But I say keep it pretty simple, just having a few steps so you can send out that client feedback survey. or it could send it to the clinician that's terminating on your team. All right, so those are my favorite TheraSaaS productivity automations. Be sure to watch part 1 and part 2 on the videos of my favorite automations as it relates to sales and marketing. And let us know how you're using TheraSaaS for different automations. Leave a comment below. Like this video if you found this helpful. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.